No pressure there. No pressure at all. Good evening.
Good evening, Lizbeth.
Some of you know I have a pet care business called Sniffs and Wiggles Pet Services. I also work through the Rover Pet Service platform on occasion. Most of my clients are dogs, but I sometimes care for cats, chickens, snakes, gerbils, a couple of baby goats in pajamas, and large turtles. I love dogs the most, partially because I'm not allergic to them. I even love the whiny bitches. You might not know this, but I have it on good authority that Adam and Eve had a dog. The dog's name was Kelly Rashon. It means first dog. Sometimes sitting is a joyful staycation in a luxury home on the water with a pool. Sometimes I believe I'm in purgatory. For example, earlier this year, I had a 3-week stay with Chevy and Harley. The house was dark and dismal, filled with dusty antiques and art in gilded frames. It was much the way I imagined Miss Havisham's house was in Great Expectations, with furniture covered in white sheets and mantel clocks all stopped at 8:40. Things went well until I was supposed to leave the job, exactly 2 hours before I was supposed to vacate. Now keep in mind, when I pet sit, I don't just go in, walk the dog, eat the food. I clean the house. I prepare a meal for the owners. I go to Walgreens and make a photo card, thank you card, for them having me there. So the parents come home and, they're happy and I'm ready to go. Chevy, the neurotic female, saw a squirrel in the backyard. She raced through the living room, through the sunroom, through the sunroom screen door that was not open. After failing to capture the squirrel, she heard the neighbor's dog and child in the adjoining screened sunroom. She hit that screen wall at 90 miles per hour and went through into their sunroom. So there I am. I had to crawl through the hole after the dog, put the child and the white foo-foo in a safe place, and wrestle Chevy in a wrestling hold that my grandson taught me. And I dragged that black and white retrobate back home. I was pissed. Meanwhile, inside the house, poor old Harley, who was 17 years old, could not contain himself with all this excitement. His pea-sized bladder let loose, and he created a urine flood the size of Lake Minnetonka. It was under the mahogany dining room table and chairs, narrowly missing the red Persian rug. Exhausted and frustrated, I crated the dogs, cleaned up the mess, packed my car to depart. The next day I visited and returned the key. They commented on the lovely Caesar salad I left for them and the cheesecake dessert and how they enjoyed how clean the house was. Keep in mind, these are 2 bachelors that live together. They were very curious about the plywood covering the area between their neighbor's screen and their yard. I explained the situation in great detail. And I walked out of the house with a $200 tip. However, not all of my jobs are that exciting. Sometimes it just involves putting the dogs to bed and listening to them say their bedtime prayers. Dear God, I love to play with kids. We only have 1 kid in our family. Could you please send me another one, preferably a boy? Love, Roscoe. Dear God, I I would love to have goggles, please, so when I stick my head out the window of our car to help my human drive, I don't get bugs in my eyes. Desperately needing them, Edward. P.S. I'm very nearsighted. Dear God, how much does it cost to buy a puppy? I'm lonely and need a friend. I have 28 cents. I hope that's enough. Love, Beaner Boy from Tampa. Dear God, you don't have to get me a birthday present this year. Just send me an autographed picture. It should say, to my good friend and smartest dog in Dunedin. Everyone will know who you're talking about. Sincerely, Edward. Dear God, I'm a boy dog. I'd like to get a girl dog, so next year you can bring us 6 puppies. Thank you in advance, Teddy. Dear God, all I want in life is some chickens, some walkies, some good friends, and some Tweetos from your good boy, Charlie. Dear God, if there were more dogs in the world, it would be a better place. Dogs could protect people so there wouldn't be any crime or wars. Dogs would watch over babies and little children and lick their faces when they cry or are afraid. From your loving puppies, Shiloh, which means gift from God in Hebrew, Consuelo, which means comforter in Spanish, Lacona, which means friend in Sioux, and Alba, which means dawn in Italian. Thank you.